group this morning. And if it's a small group, I think we can still have fun doing some retrieval practice. But I'm still also hoping that a bunch more people kind of pile in. So we'll give them a bit more time. It's 9 o'clock now. But yeah, we'll give people a bit more time and then we'll have fun. So, see, I got a chat over here. Let's in the chat. I just want to make sure this is recorded. Yeah. Yeah, Paul is not here yet. So last time we did one of these, it was recorded. I don't really see a button that says, oh, hang on, what's this? Well, it's just video on, video off, restream. Yeah, not really seeing a button. I did kind of like this background. Whoa, or do we like this background? Sure, why not? Retrieval show. Sure, that makes us look like we're retrieving. So let me just throw a quick email to Paul while we're, and Paul is the gentleman who is allowing us to play with this software, just to make sure it will be recorded. Will there be a recording? All right. Okay, so we'll ask Paul. I'm pretty sure there will be. Again, I don't just see a button to press record. Let me just look around just a little bit. What's the game? Limelight. What's Limelight? I don't know what Limelight is. Never mind. We don't need that. Leaderboard, giveaways. Yeah, so there's now 38 people here, by the way, which is great. I'm going to throw out an invite, and the invite just allows you to come on to stage, so to speak, and you see some of you guys are in the wings. There we go. Okay. I'm going to try to drive this tech myself, as I don't see Paul here yet. Maybe Paul is here somewhere in the background. Are you here, Paul, anywhere? Okay, perhaps not yet, but that's fine. I should be able to drive the show. So what are we going?
He says he's here in the chat.
He's in the chat. Oh, sorry. There we are. Forti Squad, it's being recorded. Yes, he's here. Okay, fantastic. So everything's good that way. So how's this going to work? Well, we've been playing it, and partly what we're doing is trying to see how could we use this platform for educational purposes. And it is sort of sort of a webinar platform, but it's one that's really made for things like doing competitions and giving points for stuff. And so we think we've come up with a much better sort of use case, a way that this will work. And we're going to have a little bit of fun with it today. So what it is you see I'm in the middle, and you see right now there's somebody beside me, Tamina, I think. And if Tamina's willing to be the first contestant, she can stay and be the first contestant. If you'd rather me switch you out, let me know, and I can switch you out with somebody else who wishes to be a contestant. Are you okay starting out? Let me see. There you go. Yep. Go ahead. Open your mic again for a sec.
Yes.
Okay. Are you okay being the first contestant?
Yeah. Okay.
Okay. So what we're going to do, thank you for being the victim for first, so that everyone can get a sense of it. And we'll kind of just go through one of these, but mostly we're just going to ask a bunch of questions. But I'm going to ask Tamina a specific question about psychology, a trivia kind of question. And here's your job, Tamina. If you know the answer, great. Say what that answer is. If you're not sure what the answer is, say something with confidence, because we're then going to ask the audience if they agree with you. And so try to get them to agree with you, because if they agree with you, then you get to stay on stage and keep getting points. So even if you're wrong, if you can convince them you're right, that allows you to stay on stage. So that'll be the first thing. She'll answer, you'll all vote whether you agree with her or not. And then I will say whether she was correct or not. If she's correct, she also gets points. In fact, if most of you vote for her, she'll get a point. If I give her a correct, she'll get 10 points. And so she'll be able to keep earning points. And as long as you guys keep agreeing with her, she stays on stage. Once she, yeah, let's just try it. Let's just go, and then we'll switch people off and on as we go. So here's what I'm going to do is give you a question in a second here. And I will show you the question. I will read you the question. There's going to be 20 seconds while she answers. The rest of you will see an up or down arrow, a yes, she's right, or no, she's not. And I want you to pick whether you agree with her answer. And this is all going to happen in 20 seconds. Okay. So let's give it a try and just get the feel of it going. So what method did Wundt use to study mental processes? Don't forget to unmute your microphone to say your answer. And it's just Tamina. I need an answer, Tamina. All right. Okay, so.
Yeah. Should I continue?
Sorry?
Yeah, should I answer?
Yeah, I need you to answer first. So let's try one more. So I'm going to close this vote for now, and okay. We'll try it once more. So unfortunately, I have to replace you. That's the only option because the vote didn't go for you. So I'll replace you, swap you out. We'll get this down. And so right now, Angad is here with me. Batman with a little doll here. So you are now the new contestant. Do you mind opening your mic ahead of time, please? Just so I know that you're ready to answer. So that's I'm talking to now. Actually, I'm gonna swap it. So who wants to? There we go. Yeah. There we go. Okay, so I've put you in here, Kajeth, because I know we can try to do one through here with you. So I'm going to. I don't want that. Okay, so I'm going to give you a question. Again, you give me the answer and as quickly as you can, and then so I'm going to wait for your answer now. I'm just going to give you the question verbally. Which perspective focuses on observable behavior?
Functionalism.
Okay, so now everybody has a chance to vote. So you can either agree with him or disagree with him. And if he could get you to agree with him, then even if he's not right, then he gets to stay. But if he's okay. So we're seeing some numbers here. You got about 75% disagreeing with you right now. Okay. So yeah, so ended up not having the class agree with him. And yeah, so he lost this. Now I'm not doing the up or down vote here, Paul, which is interesting, but that's okay. I was thinking this would work a little different. Oh, there's the up and down vote. So, okay. And so he got it wrong. Oh, I have to do the next. I gotcha. So now I say, wah, wah, wah. I say he got it wrong and he gets this little thing. And, and then we're going to replace. And when I replace it, it'll originally be random. So I'm going to replace now. And now we have Sarah Chen.
Hello?
Yeah, excellent. You ready to play?
Yeah.
Okay. So I'm going to give you a question. What is the first step in the scientific method?
The first step
is
to form a hypothesis.
Okay. So now the audience can vote whether they agree or disagree. Looks like you're getting good agreement. So even if you're wrong, you will be allowed to stay on. But there we go. We'll close the vote. So you won the audience vote. I'm getting this now, Paul. So then I say next, and display this, which will tell me I can also say, yes, you were right. So excellent. So you now have 11 points. You're topping the leaderboard. Woohoo. And you get to stick around for another question. So let me skip here. So who developed psychoanalysis to treat disorders?
Sigmund Freud.
Sigmund Freud. Yeah, and if it feels like a lot of the votes are in, I might close the vote ahead of time when it comes. What do we have? 54 people here. Fantastic. Thanks. So again, those of you who are here, you feel free to vote when you see that. And once again, it looks like she has got the popular vote. Let's close that. Excellent. So that part's great. Were you actually right? There we go. Yes, you were actually right. So fantastic. So now you're up to 22 points. You're on a roll. Woohoo. Okay. I'm going to give you another question. What school of psychology focuses on how mental processes help adaptation?
The evolutionary perspective.
Okay, the evolutionary perspective. Agree or disagree? Everybody, okay. All right, so we'll close the vote here. So you got the popular vote, but I'm actually going to pull a technicality sort of on you here. So you're in the right sort of here. I'll just throw this up. You're in the right notion of evolution, but it's really functionalism is the school of psychology that is, but it's very much aligned with evolution. But it's okay because you got them all to vote for you. So I'm going to say you're wrong. I'm not going to give you the 10 points for the right answer, but you get to hang around for another question because you got that one right. This is starting to get fun. I'm starting to get that. Oh, but it says replace. Let me try not to replace you. Yeah. Okay. Ooh. Wow. Okay. This is a big question. We got ChatGPT to give these questions. And if you can get sort of some sense of this being correct, then I'll be good because this is a huge question. So here it is. What is consciousness?
Consciousness is the awareness of your surroundings and self.
Okay, I think that sounds good. So I mispressed a button, and so I cut off the class vote. But I'm gonna just give you a yes. That's great for consciousness. Thank you. I'm gonna get better with my fingers. Consciousness is so many things, but certainly awareness of your surroundings is one perfectly good answer. All right. So now we'll go on to another question. How does natural selection shape psychological traits?
Like the beneficial traits get selected, so they're gonna be more like abundant in the next generation.
Yeah. So for psychological traits, yeah. Okay, we have 100% agreement with that, and I'll say yes. I pushed that button again a little quick. I'm getting used to the interface, but yeah, the notion would be that if some psychological trait was, attractive, usually because it does help reproduction in some way, then yes, that's selected for. So anyway, we'll say that's good. The class agrees that you got it right, and I'm going to say. Display. There we go. That I agree with that as well. So fantastic. You're ripping it up here. 44. All right. Let's go to another one here. Ooh, okay. What is the difference between sensation and perception?
Sensation is how you're the stimulus is received, and then perception is how your brain interprets that stimulus.
Okay. We'll let the vote go a little more here. Cool. Close the vote. So you got them agreeing with you again. Yeah, the sensation is a little trickier. So perception, I definitely like the fact that you talked about it being analyzed or processed a little, and that's what you end up with. Whereas sensation, I might say, is just the raw sensory input coming in. But I actually think that was good enough for sure. And so there you go, flying away. Can she be defeated? Let's see. What is a hypothesis?
A hypothesis is your prediction, and it outlines what you're trying to study.
Your prediction, can you be more specific?
So it's the prediction of your experiment. So it's if something happens, then this will be the result.
Okay. So we got a few. Oh, you were losing the class vote, but then they swung around on your side, which is cool. All right, now I'll just close that there. Yeah, so I would just add to that by saying that a hypothesis is derived from a theory, a more general theory, and it's a more specific prediction derived from that theory about what should happen in a very specific experimental context. But yeah, I think you got the feel for that as well. We're flying here. All right, let's keep her going. What is the minimum stimulus intensity detected 50% of the time? So there's a name for this. There's this term for the minimum stimulus intensity that you can detect 50% of the time.
The
What do we
absolute threshold.
got? Okay. Absolute threshold. Yeah, and obviously you got the audience on your side again. Woohoo, you're like the Jeopardy champion or something. And so, yep, that is exactly right. We sometimes will call that the link for subliminal too, when it's less than this. But you're right; that is the absolute threshold at which you can display that stimulus, or which you can perceive that stimulus 50% of the time. So fantastic, good job there. I hope we got enough questions, Paul. We're flying. Who applied Darwin's theories to emotions? I'm not sure we emphasize this in class, but yeah, give it a go.
To emotions. Actually, I don't know.
Yep. Cool. So that's what, by the way, if any of you, the rest of you are gaming, that's when you just make something up with confidence. You pick like Edward Thorndike, I don't know, and you see if you can fool the class. I don't know if we talked about this, to be honest. I'm going to display this question again so everyone can see it. It's a guy named Paul Ekman. And I don't know if I talked about him much in class, and I don't know if the textbook hit on it. So that might have been an unfair question. But nonetheless, you've been on a tear too long, so we're going to use this as a chance to replace you. But you're still leading the leaderboard, by the way. So everything's cool there. And sorry, so can you tell me your name? Who's now a contestant? Because
I'm Mamina.
Mamina, welcome. All right, you ready to play?
No, but we can continue still.
Okay. What is the adaptive function of fear?
Can you elaborate?
Well, yeah, any adaptive function. Why do we fear things? How does this help us in any way, shape, or form?
Well, especially like evolutionarily, before we had the predisposition to fear so that we would like protect ourselves when an actual threat would come through. You know, especially like, like the example in class where you're like hunting for berries, and so like there is a chance for berries to be poisonous, so you don't want to die, so you have to fear the concept of the berries being poisonous, right? And so yeah.
Okay, that's good. So, by the way, you got the class vote. You didn't at first. You swung it around right at the last minute when you said something about fear helped you when you had danger around. With the berries, we usually talk about a grizzly bear coming out as opposed to the poison, but still same idea. Fear often triggers that fight flight reflex, and that keeps us alive in situations by giving us more strength, more energy, etc. So, yep, all great. So I'm going to give you a good one on that one, and we'll move on to the next, which is what is REM sleep and why is it important?
REM sleep is hold on. Okay. REM sleep is like one of the 5 stages of sleep, and it comes towards like the end of like the 5 stages. Is like a, what do you call it? A source of like deep sleep. And what was the second part to the question?
And why is it important?
It's important because I don't know, it helps you cycle through all of the it helps you cycle through all of the 5 stages so that you get a good night's rest.
Cool. So I like your attempt to be confident there at the end. Be strong. Yeah. Class did not go with you. So REM sleep is dream. So let me close this vote. Yeah, you're gonna get replaced. I'm afraid. Oh, I think I can still replace you. I went past the replace thing. I can do it a different way, I think, and so I will do it. Click on another user to replace. Okay, I'll go with this little dog user. There we go. So let me just answer first. Oh, so I'm going to end up teaching you. That's okay. So yeah, that's actually the dream stage, REM sleep, and why is it important? Well, it seems at least important for helping us learn procedural memories. It seems to help consolidate those procedural memories. So I'm gonna say no, which means I'm gonna replace the little dog person even before they came. They didn't even get to do anything. Sorry. This next person, is it Isabel? Are you ready to play with your flat Snoopy and Woodstock picture? Isabel, are you cool? Okay, not hearing anything from Isabel, so I'm gonna swap her for somebody. Let's try this. Who's this? Vivian? Are you ready to play? If you are, just unmute your mic and say, yep, let's do it. Oh, we got a bunch of, okay, let me see. Okay, what am I, hang on. All right, we got Toronto Maple Leafs. Ryan, are you here, Ryan, and ready to play? So what do we have? A bunch of people just hanging out and watching TV or something while they I don't quite get why no one's listening. Oh, are you there, Ryan?
I'm so excited to join today. I don't have tutorial.
Are you able to play, or do you have to be quiet where you are?
Probably just from 9 to 10, but like, yeah, I have a class later at 11, so I have to.
But if I ask you a question right now, can you play the game?
Yes, I can answer now. I can answer now. I'll get swapped out eventually. So.
Okay, so let's try it. So how do stimulants affect consciousness? Stimulants being one class of drug somebody could take. Do we have a guess?
It essentially makes like more awake, I suppose. Oh.
Okay, cool. So I'm gonna close that. So it's a bit of a tricky question, but stimulants, they tend to obviously kind of make us hyper, make us more anxious, make us more energetic, kind of fill us with this need to do something and get out there. And so that's how they make conscious sort of a little more urgent, a little more desiring to do something. So cool. Replace. Sorry, Ryan. All cool. Tamina is back on the main stage now. I'll just check. Tamina, are you ready to use your mic now? You ready to play now that you get a sense of how this is going?
Yes.
Excellent. Okay, so here we go. What is the difference between sleep apnea and insomnia?
I think so. Sleep insomnia is particular disease relating to sickness, but I'm not sure about sleep apnea.
Okay. Alrighty. So let's close that right there. Sorry. So insomnia is just the general sense of having a problem sleeping. And there's lots of different kinds of insomnia, lots of different reasons people can't sleep, often related to anxiety and things like that. Sleep apnea specifically is this condition where you sort of stop breathing for periods of time. And so those machines kind of keep the airways open and keep you breathing, those people that have those sleep apnea machines. So it's a much more specific sleep disorder. So all cool, but I'm going to swap you out again. White people, let me, okay, cool. And so now we have the Batman with the stuffed toy.
Is my mic working?
It is. You're ready to rock.
Okay.
Okay,
Right.
cool.
Let's go.
All right, let's do it. So how do rods and cones differ in function?
I think cones are for like the color vision, and then rods are for the night vision, or something like that. Like they're on the side, and then the cones are concentrated in the middle.
Okay, cool. Yep, more rods in the periphery, so good on both sides there. And yes, the rods are much more for low light kind of situation, shades of gray, whereas the cones give us our color vision. So fantastic! You got the
All right.
got the audience on your side, and you got me on your side. Let me see. There we go. So there you go. You're up to 11 points. We have a challenger on the leaderboard now. Excellent.
Yeah.
All right. So what type of research determines cause and effect?
Oh shoot. Uh, cause and effect, like experiment. I think experiment based. Yeah.
Excellent. Pulled that one out. Cool. Yep. Definitely experiment based. Yeah. Running a proper experiment with a randomized control group and all that kind of stuff is what gives us cause effect relationships. So that's cool. So you're up to 22. Excellent. Well, let's check the leaderboard again. Can you guys see the leaderboard? Oh, that's not the leaderboard. Can you guys see the leaderboard when I show it? Let me see. If I throw that up there, visible, give you a sense right now, Sarah, but we got some action going. Excellent. Okay. So next question. How does evolutionary psychology explain altruism?
Okay, from an evolution perspective.
Yeah.
That we're like more likely to give up something. I think like maybe it was like useful, like to like be able to like give up and like do something for someone else and not want something back. I don't know, something like that.
Cool. I'll let that. There's a few more votes coming in, so we'll see. All right, we'll close the vote.
I think I lost this one.
Yeah, lots of one. But you're close. I mean, altruism is a sort of step more extreme, which is putting yourself or your safety or your survival sometimes on the line for somebody else, to help somebody else. So somebody who runs into a fire or does something like that. And it's sometimes a challenge to altruism because you think, well, why would you, if it's all about your reproductive success, why would you ever do anything that might endanger that? And so there are various theories of evolution, and one of them, for example, would be what's called the kin-based altruism, which says maybe if it was your daughter, let's say, that you would put your life at risk to save your daughter's life because she has more likelihood of passing on your genes than you do. Not you at your age now. You're still fine. But when you get to my age, then a daughter might have more chance of passing on genes. So there's theories like that that try to explain altruism in evolutionary terms. So fantastic. Gonna boot you. Wow. Through the other side. All right. Hey, and Kajeth is back. Excellent. So let me just there we go. So why is random assignment used in experiments?
Random assignments used in experiments to prevent, for example, it's not coming to mind. It's used to prevent, I can't find the words to put this. Random assignment. It's to prevent any like error or bias that occurs from accidentally putting certain people that may offset the actual results, in a sense.
You're in the right ballpark. Oh, and there's still more votes coming in, I see. So interestingly, Paul, the votes don't seem to be breaking down into agree, disagree this time. I'm not sure why, so I'm just seeing votes. But yeah, I mean, you're in the right area. Well, let me close the vote. Theoretically, you won that vote. I don't know, I don't know why, but okay. We'll say you did. That'll give you another chance, another question. But I'm actually going to say for now that no, not quite. But it's now making me replace you because I said no, not quite. Do I have to replace them? Let me see if I have to. I'm just going to go on. No, I don't have to replace you. Okay. So just to talk about that a little bit, random assignment is if we're going to have two groups, let's say an experimental group and a control group, we want to take people who come to the lab and just randomly put them in one group or the other. And as Kajeth was getting to there, if that prevents us from doing any systematic biases, putting all a certain kind of people in one group and certain kind of people. We'd like those groups to be sort of as similar to each other and as representative of the population as possible. And so the best way to do that is just to randomly put people into two groups, and then we shouldn't have any systematic difference across those two groups. So that's what random assignment kind of does for us. Okay. What does the cochlea do in the auditory system? What's its role?
The cochlea is used to sense vibrations and stuff. It's related to the vestibular system, I think, and it helps our sense of balance and I think our proprioception of our body.
So yeah, you're getting into a number of things here in terms of what it does. It's our primary way of so it's this, just to give you a sense. Hang on. Where am I here? Am I supposed to? Okay, let me do my next here. Get here.
You can't vote at all.
Yeah. We're going to try it again with this next question. May have messed something up with my flipping through stuff, so we'll get back. But let's just sort of finish that a little bit. So first of all, the cochlea, it's that spiral-shaped, fluid-filled structure that's in the inner ear, and it really plays a critical role in hearing. It's really where we convert the sound vibrations into electrical signals. And what's that called? I'll throw that out there for you. When the sound vibrations are turned into electrical signals, that's called transduction. Sorry, I was just kind of lost there. So it's doing the transduction for hearing. It's really where the basic hearing process begins. But it does play a role in some of those other things you talked about as well. So it's there, but really we're looking for the primary thing. Okay, so let's try this. I'm hoping I'm doing this question from the start, so it'll go smoothly. We'll see. So what is a double-blind study, and why is it important?
A double-blind study pretty much is when the participants or the researchers, neither one of them knows the actual effect of the experiment. So if you had, for example, a pill in a clinical trial, neither the researchers or the participants would know. It would be rather some sort of person in management position that would know, oh, in reality, this is a placebo or not.
Okay, why do we do that?
They do it to prevent any preconceived biases about the effectiveness of, for example, medicine.
Excellent. So I'm going to close the vote. You got the audience on your side, but also I'll just display this again. There we go. Yeah, he's also got me on his side totally. So yeah, this is really when, if we were comparing, say, a drug and a placebo, if you knew as the researcher, oh, those people are getting the real drug and these people are getting the placebo, you might treat them differently. You might have some bias in how you react to it. But if the researcher doesn't even know, and as Kajeth suggests, if somebody higher up is the only one that really knows who's in what condition, then we can be more confident that any results we see are due to the drug, not due to any way that people were treated. So fantastic. And it looked like the voting all worked there, which is cool. So here's another one then. What is sensory adaptation?
Sensory adaptation is when, for example, our senses initially will be sensing something. Maybe we feel something along our skin, but as time passes, eventually the nerve signal that's produced from that stimuli eventually starts becoming unnoticeable to ourselves.
Yeah. So we got agreement from the crew, and that's exactly right. Just with continual stimulation, eventually you just stop being sensitive to that. Okay, so that's cool from the audience. And I display this, and I say cool for me. Excellent. Okay, getting up there on the points. Fantastic. So
is it fine if I ask a quick question, Professor?
Sure.
So would sensory adaptation be connected to the idea of habituation that we learned in chapter 8?
You can kind of think of there's similar things on different scales in a way. So sensory adaptation, almost as you just suggested, that if there's some continual sensory input, eventually we just stop feeling it. We stop becoming sensitive to it because it's just sort of a constant. It's not changing. And so our sensory systems seem to really be sensitive to change. With habituation, it's kind of similar, but it's more that stimulus that we habituate to doesn't predict anything. It doesn't lead to anything. So it's not so much whether it's changing or not. So it could even, you can habituate to a changing stimulus. So for example, the ticking of a clock is a continually changing stimulus, right? It clicks, it doesn't, it clicks, it doesn't, it clicks, and doesn't. And usually onsets kind of grab us. But when you start to realize, hey, that's just part of my context and it's always there and it doesn't predict anything that's going on, then the brain just starts sort of saying, that's not important, has no value for me. And we stop sort of perceiving it. But you're right, it's a similar idea of sort of a reduction in sensitivity to some stimulation over time. So I think this is the last question of our first rounds, and then we're going to try some rapid rounds, see if we can make those work. I don't know. But this is the last question we'll do this way. So what is sexual selection and how is it different from natural selection? It's a tricky question. I'll let you think on it a bit before I put the vote out. So how is sexual selection different from natural selection? Okay, here we go.
Sexual selection is different from natural selection since that natural selection selects towards the traits that would make you the fittest in your environment relative to others of your species. So that may be like physical traits that allow you to survive longer so you can reproduce more. Sexual selection selects towards traits that give you a higher reproductive success. So for example, in like spiders, like black widow ones, they'll, for example, have sexual selection where the male pretty much selects towards dying in a sense, just so that it can reproduce.
Interesting. Yep. And other examples of sexual selection would be like the peacock tail, where there's traits that attract the other gender, but they don't really give you competitive success, so to speak. But they are nonetheless attractive in a sort of sexual selection way. And so you see a lot of, for example, birds where the males tend to be brightly colored and things like that to attract mates. So that's more the sexual selection one. So, yep. I'm going to say, there we go. So Kajeth is now at 34. So if we stop for a second to look at the leaderboard, and again, can you guys see that when I put it up? Can you just let me know, Kajeth, do you see anything pop up?
I do not see any
You do not.
leaderboards
You
popping
would,
up,
you
but
would, because for me, it's right in front of everybody. So just to let you know, Sarah Chen is leading still at 77. Kajeth is behind her with 34 points. And then Angid with 22. Forti squad. Paul, what are you doing with 42? You didn't answer anything. Miriam's probably having to answer things in the background when I screw up stuff. And then we have Paul and Stuberit and Paul again. Interesting. Okay, so so it's really Sarah and Kajeth that are sort of battling it out a little bit here. We still have Kajeth up. And so now what we're going to do is just one question. I'm just going to ask it, and then we'll say if it's right or not, and we'll be able to maybe move a little quicker and swap out a few more people. So let's see. So the next question, what is the state of heightened focus used in therapy? A state of heightened focus.
I have no clue, but I'm just going to throw a random answer out there and say client-centered therapy.
Okay, cool. That would have been good if you had the audience vote. So there's no audience vote in this one. You guys are just all sort of playing along. And so that would be hypnosis, actually. Hypnosis gives the person that heightened focus, and it's often used in therapy for that reason. So I'm going to say no, and we're going to swap out Kajeth, and we have Sarah back. Oh, you can build on your lead, Sarah. Excellent. The next question, and again, we're going to go a little quicker here. Which brain structure is tied to survival and basic drives?
The brainstem.
Okay. Do you want to be a little more maybe broader than just the brainstem? But yeah. I'm gonna say that's okay. So the limbic system and in general we could say, but certainly that's part of it. So yep, let's say that's good. Woohoo. Oh, now we've got 4. Oh, are we going to do the 4-1, Paul? Is that okay? We'll maybe try this one and see if this works. So I am going to go to the next question. I'm going to ask it and display it really quickly. And then the first one of you guys that jumps in with the answer will get rewarded for it. So for the various people that you see in the middle here, you may want to unmute your mic if you want a shot at this. Otherwise, Sarah's going to kick your butts. But I will leave that to you guys. Who is the father of behaviorism?
Pavlov?
Not Pavlov, but I see why you would say Pavlov. But I'm gonna say no for you for a second. Either of you other two want to try the father of behaviorism?
Is it not what's his name? Sigmund Freud? No, probably not.
Not Sigmund Freud. Anybody else want to try? Yep, we got one more try here. Insane cow. Insane cow.
Is it John Locke?
No, not John Locke. So cool. So it was John Watson. So John Watson being the one but he was very much inspired by Pavlov. So when Pavlov was doing his thing, there wasn't really anything called behaviorism yet, but he was doing that sort of classical conditioning, and it was Watson that sort of took his model and said, yeah, that's sort of how we should be doing things. And so he was very much inspired by Pavlov, which is great. But yeah. Okay, so we have another 3 contestants. We're doing this 3 at a time. This is cool. Again, I'm going to throw that question out, and whoever answers first will judge first. So who is linked to the theory of structuralism?
Is that one? What's it called? What's his name? Wundt?
We got Wundt. Excellent. And so I'm gonna ditch
Wundt.
Wundt. Yep.
I can't hear anything in my headphones.
Oh, really? Oh, sorry. You did good. You must have heard the question at least. Oh, so I was supposed to replace these people, but I didn't do it quick enough, so that's okay. We'll give you a second round as I learn this. So, what Gestalt principle explains how we perceive whole objects?
Oh, so that's like the Gestalt thing, like as a whole. So different from the functionalism, that we have to see like behavior and certain behavior that's affected by different like many parts of your body, not just like single.
Okay, let me just keep this open. Do either of you, the other 2 of you, the little dog in the Santa suit or the Toronto Maple Leaf, want to chime in?
The Gestalt principle here would be like that. A whole object is essentially different from the sum of its parts.
Right.
That would be the principle.
Yep, that's the general notion of it. I think the specific answer, but that's good. I mean, I think the specific answer we're looking for. I'm gonna say no here. I'm gonna say yes here, and I'm gonna say no here. Replace. There we go. What we're really looking for was the principle of grouping. A lot of Gestalt stuff is about grouping, and that allows us to perceive the whole objects. Is once we group it, it's a whole object. All right. What is the purpose of a control group? Any one of the 3 that are up there now?
It's like to see like what happens like to the effect, like to see just how much your the change you're doing, just how much it like changed the group. If they're the same, then what you changed has like no correlation with yeah. Something like that.
I'm gonna call that good. Excellent. And so let me see. Okay, we'll swap people out as we do things. I'm gonna be a little quicker to swap people out just because that gives everybody a chance to kind of be up in the middle a little bit more. There we go. What theory explains dream as the brain making sense of random activity?
Is it the activation synthesis model?
Activation synthesis. Excellent. So we'll give Kajeth a yay on that. We'll replace these other two. So keep an eye, because you never know when you're going to end up in the middle here, because I'm replacing like crazy. The maximum number has been changed. It will take it back. Choose who. Okay, I don't know what that says. Okay, what are innate behaviors without prior learning called? So when we think about it in the classical conditioning context, we have a way of referring to innate behaviors. Whoa, you guys are already doing stuff.
Unconditioned response.
Okay, I've heard reflexes, I've heard conditioned response, neither quite what I'm looking for. The innate ones in classical conditioning terms. Sorry?
Instinct.
They are yeah. So you're right. Yeah. I'm gonna say both. You guys were right. Although technically, what I was hoping to hear was an unconditioned stimulus, unconditioned response, which is the ones they didn't have to learn. It was innate, so it was not conditioned. But still, those are the instincts. That's what we're talking about. So I'm gonna say yes to these. So I keep, Paul, by the way, I keep getting the maximum number has been changed. It will take effect after you drop people from the stage. Choose how to drop, who to drop. So I don't know. It's okay. Hey, how did we ended up swapping out Kajeth? I didn't mean to swap out. I don't know how that happened. Oh, he's back.
Wait,
Okay.
I have a question.
Yep.
So like when you say like unconditioned response, you have to always pair it with like the unconditioned stimulus.
Yeah, so that would be the ultimate sort of answer to that. Is it's the UCS UCR combination. That's the one that's innate, that we didn't have to learn, that connection between those. So that was like when you put food in a dog's mouth, it naturally drools. If a projectile was coming at your face, you would naturally kind of shy away. So those are the things you didn't have to learn, and we think of those as unconditioned stimuli that are linked to unconditioned responses. But they are also innate. So I think that was a perfectly good answer. Yeah. What ethical principle ensures that participants can withdraw at any time? Well, that's kind of a weird question, but I'm gonna throw it out there anyway, because that's what ChatGPT gave us. Anybody want to give a try? Why do we tell people they can withdraw at any time?
They don't feel coerced.
Yeah, I'm going to give you that, coercion. So we'll connect that with coercion. Excellent. Oh, wait a minute. I got that right. Who am I kicking off? There's a certain amount of random chance to this game when I'm at the controls. I'm afraid. Okay, there we go. There's that maximum number again. I don't know. I'm just ignoring that maximum number thing. Okay. How do mirror neurons support evolutionarily social behavior? So social behavior. How would a mirror neuron support social behavior?
Mirror neurons are about copying people's behavior. So you make that learning through observation.
Fantastic. Yep. So socially, do you want to bring that into the social realm? What might you learn about social behavior that way?
Because also, if you have the same behavior, you are in a group, so you are included in that certain group.
Yep. No, you're doing great. And so I would just say, here's one, for example, a concrete example. Let's say, different cultures mourn death differently. And if you were a young child and for the first time ever, somebody close to you passed away and you saw that funeral ritual, whatever it might be, that mourning ritual, you're going to see all these people engaging in this social behavior and whatever it might be, depending on your culture. And it can be very different, but you will now observe that, and you're likely to mimic that. And just as you say, you added that nice thing, now you're behaving sort of appropriately for your culture, right? You're doing the things that your culture does, and that does help you fit in. It does help with that sort of sense of belonging with that group. So 100%. That's one of the ways observational learning, that's one of the reasons why it's powerful is that you're doing what others around you are doing, and they tend to like to see that. They tend to like to see kids mimicking those behaviors. So I'm going to say yes, fantastic, good job. And we'll say no, just to replace some people. So I'm not seeing the option to replace. Interesting.
Oh, the points are not assigned. Like when people get things right or wrong, is that supposed to happen or no?
They're supposed to be getting assigned as people are right or wrong. I haven't been looking that closely. I have seen, I mean, there are some points assigned. So I see like Sarah's over there with her 87. Kajeth has 44. I think you can see the stars, hopefully. Can you see that? The star with the number over
Yeah, I
your-
can see the star with the number, but they don't update.
Really? Okay, let's watch this next time and let's make sure. What is operational definition in research? When we use that term operational definition, what do we mean in a research setting?
I think it's to come up with a design for a study so you can know how to measure and how to manipulate the variables.
Yeah, I'm going to give you that. So it's that very specific, you being very specific about, let's say you're going to try to have a low self-esteem and high self-esteem group. How are you going to create those groups? What are you going to do to make one group have a higher self-esteem than the other? And so it's, yeah, how are you actually going to create the conditions? How are you going to measure your variables of interest? That's what the operational definitions are. So yeah, so let me give her now a thumbs up. And let's look at her star value. And it's currently 0, which it shouldn't be because you've been right in the past. I know. Yep, you're right. So for some reason in this situation, select password. So in this situation, it seems as though the numbers are not updating. I'm not sure why that would be the case. So that's something we will send to Paul. Ooh, this is a challenge and it's got $10 associated with it. I don't know if this money means anything true or not. Paul put some money in my account that's floating around and now it looks like the game is going to give it away to people. I don't know. We'll see. Oh, no. Okay. So we already asked this question, so I'm going to move on there. Here we go. Okay, what allows the brain to focus on some stimuli and ignore others? We actually talk about a process. We have a name for this thing that where the brain is able to focus on some stimuli and ignore others. What do we call that? People will study this process. No takers. I think I like the other flow better with the audience voting in this one, but this is cool too. Okay, so we call that selective attention, right? The processes that allow certain information to kind of get through to consciousness while other informations are ignored. And so we call that selective attention. So I guess, all right. And go next here. Interesting. I'm not sure I know the answer to this one. These are all chat GPT, but we'll throw it out there. How does evolutionary psychology address cultural differences? Anybody that can even give me a good attempt at this, of thinking of cultural differences in evolutionary terms? I'll even give you a specific one to think about. And that's with respect to how different cultures tend to treat older people and the West versus East distinction. So in the Eastern cultures, there's a much higher tendency that older people will continue to live in the home with their children, often with their extended family. They will continue to have roles, maybe cooking, maybe helping with cleaning, maybe helping with the kids. Whereas in a Western culture, we're more likely for our older people to put them in homes, long-term care facilities where they don't have to cook, they don't have to do anything, but they're also sort of isolated and by themselves. So if we think of that, the different ways that Eastern and Western cultures treat older people, can we imagine how you would explain that in evolutionary terms?
I think like having older people around would increase like their survivability of like maybe the children, because like the older people would like take care of the children while they're out hunting or something.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just thinking like throughout evolution, like if you want the best chances, you have more hands to help. I think.
Yeah. So I think that's an interesting So what we would have to actually get a little deeper maybe is to, sorry, I should have displayed this. I never did display this. We'd have to get a little deeper maybe in saying that, maybe in the Eastern cultures, it might have been more necessary for people to be out working or doing stuff. And so having the older people taking care of kids and stuff could have been a real advantage there. Maybe in the Western culture, it's not so much of an advantage, but at any rate, to try to explain why one culture does it and why the other doesn't. But nonetheless, I think that was good. That was a better attempt than I hoped for. So well done.
Oh my God.
Okay. How did I swap people? I don't know what I did. We'll go here anyway. How do independent and dependent variables differ?
Dependent variable is the one that's you're changing, and the independent one is the one you're not changing.
Yep. Yep. So the independent variable, you're manipulating that because that's the one that you're interested to see what effect it has. The dependent variable is your measurement. So that's what you want to know. Is it having an effect on that thing, that thing that's your dependent variable? So yeah, I think that's good enough. It's too bad the points aren't quite divvying, right? Because the leaderboard gets a little trickier. If that's anything I'm doing wrong, Paul, please feel free to. So I see a bunch of chats that I've been ignoring. Click anywhere on the screen, please. So I was ignoring that. Which do you prefer, with audience voting or rapid fire? Can you flip us right back into the audience voting mode? But no, because we don't have the two questions there, I don't think. So let's just stick with what we have. This is fine. We're almost at the time anyway. So let me go next. What part of the eye converts light into neural signals?
No.
Sorry, who said it?
I said the retina.
Retina, excellent. Yeah. And once again, so I'll say yes again. Once again, that is that process that we call transduction. So we talked about the cochlea doing that in the ear and the retina doing that in the eye. Excellent. What is the main focus of the humanistic perspective?
That
for if it's for therapy, you're trying to focus on what the person can improve and kind of positiveness. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm. Yep. Did you want to add to that, Angry Cow?
Yeah, I was just gonna say it's a positive aspect, a positive outlook on Sigmund Freud's perspective, kind of looking at the positive aspects of human life and saying all behaviors aren't necessarily driven by negative desires.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
I'm gonna give you both a thumbs up for that. So yep, just to kind of carry that on a little bit, Freud really focused on sexual and aggression and those urges and the impact that they're having. But the humanist movement said, hey, no, there's more to humans than that. There's a lot of positive aspects. And so absolutely right. There's the humanistic therapy approach, which does try to help people become the best humans they can be. And generally, humanistic research focuses on things like creativity, altruism, the kinds of things humans do that are maybe uniquely human, but also good and positive. And so it is often called positive psychology as well because of that. So yeah.
Wait, a question.
Yep.
Wait, is the key word for humanistic free will?
Is a key word for humanistic free will. I mean, there's certainly the notion. So let's call this the last question of the day and just kind of talk this through. There is certainly the notion that in any situation we have choices in how we behave. And often what a humanistic therapy would involve would be saying, okay, when this situation typically happens, so let's say you're having trouble with relationships, and every time your partner says something to you, it turns into a big fight. And a humanistic therapist might say, give me a specific example of when that happened. And what did they say that made you angry? How did you respond? But then they might say, how else could you have responded in that situation? And so they are kind of going with your free will, making you realize that we have choices. And then they might say, how do you think that way of responding would have worked out? And maybe at some point when you're thinking about your options, your free choice options, you'd say, if I would have done that one over there, I think that could have worked really a lot better. And then the therapist would just simply say, well, maybe you should try that next time. And so they are sort of helping you explore what I would call your problem space, which is sort of your decisions you could make and the outcomes they would have. Okay, cool. All right, guys. So this was kind of interesting. We did a bunch of retrieval. We had a little bit of fun. If I throw up my leaderboard, but again, I don't know totally how much we trust it, but certainly Sarah Chen is still at the top of that leaderboard. So I'm going to write down the top 3 because the 4th one is Forti, and I think the top 3 of you did all get stuff right. So that's in mine. That's Sarah Chen. That's Angad Batal, and that's Kajeth. And what I will do with you 3 is while you're writing the exam, I'm going to be coming around and visiting, and I'm going to have a Pure Scholar t-shirt, woohoo, that I will come and drop at each of your desks as you're writing your exam, as a thank you for coming and playing the game. And otherwise, I don't know if anybody has any thoughts or any reactions. Again, Paul is here from Forti. This is the platform we're kind of using and playing with, trying to get the sense of what we can do educationally. If you have any thoughts, what'd you think of this? You can also throw things in the chat. Was this a different way to prepare for an exam, or? I was wondering if you. Yeah, cool. So somebody said, I wonder if you could post these questions later on. It was fun, but some people didn't get many chances. Super fun. Okay. Cool. Yeah, glad. And a bit of this is probably me being a little kludgy at the steering wheel still here. But as far as getting at these questions, we did for those questions is we just went to ChatGPT and we said, can you give us some questions about psychology that would be covered in a typical introductory psychology chapter on, say, memory or perception? Pick your chapters and tell it how many questions you want. And it will generate exactly these kind of questions. And they're great ones for when you're studying to do exactly what we're doing here. Like have a friend study for a while and then do this with each other. You have some questions where you ask them and they ask you, get involved in that retrieval practice. And that could be good. Look at that. It was fun to be put on the spot, but I feel like Smells Like a Kahoot would be more interactive for everyone. Okay. I mean, yeah, open to other thoughts and ideas about these things. But cool. It seems like generally it seemed to go over very well. We may post a little survey link or something as we always do after these events. But otherwise, cool. So just generally, this is the Pure Scholar t-shirt, by the way, so you have a sense. Just generally, I will keep an eye out. I will be posting office hours between now and the exam. I will also be... so you see Paul's there looking for information. Paul at forti.io if you want to give him any thoughts or reactions. I will be posting a couple of practice exams, probably not till sort of mid to late next week, because I don't think you guys are going to be worried about them for a little while. But they will bring back a lot of the questions that were on the M-Tuners, but they will also mix them with some new questions. So that it's a little bit of a different exam. That's another way to practice, get that sort of testing effect practice. So watch out for that. Otherwise, if there's anything you need, you guys know where I am. You have the AI version of me available for questions as well. So all of those things are there to help you do well. So I think we will call it there for today. Thank you. And I want to thank Paul for letting us play with his platform and play with this sort of use case. I think it was pretty cool. We could tweak it a little bit, but I think this is a fun way to practice for an exam. So thank you, Paul. Cool. Alrighty, so I am now going to shut things down.